Protesters are gathering in Brooklyn Center tonight, now for a week straight. You are looking live outside the Brooklyn Center Police Department. A curfew is set to go into effect at 11 p.m. tonight in Brooklyn Center. Good evening, everyone. I'm Karen Scullen.
And I'm Sarah Danek. Last night, 136 people were arrested outside of the police department there in Brooklyn Center after a strong response by law enforcement. That's the most arrests that we've seen since protests began. As of this morning, about 50 of those people were still in custody on riot charges.
Now, we have team coverage tonight outside the Brooklyn Center Police Department.
Yeah, our Babs Santos is live there tonight. And Babs, you were there last night as well. So what does it look like tonight compared to yesterday?
Well, what I would say is all week long, law enforcement has been saying peaceful protesting is welcome, but violence will not be tolerated. And when you check out this crowd, they've really been making that happen today. It's been peaceful. It's been a pleasant vibe all night long. It almost feels like a party, or maybe, just a summer barbecue. People enjoying music, a lot of singing, grilling burgers and hot dogs. But at the same time, they're also ready just in case things derail. We saw people handing out earplugs earlier. They have gallons of milk lining the block just in case of flash bangs or tear gas. Earlier, about an hour ago, the law enforcement estimated nearly 200 people here, but the crowd has just continued to grow since then. We even saw Reverend Jesse Jackson earlier. People were really happy to see him here, taking pictures with him, talking with him. We talked with people who talked with him, and they said they were just in awe that he showed up, and they were so kind of honored to meet him here. There was a brief disturbance earlier. We saw just a huge wave of people moving away from one part of the crowd. We heard later that that was because somebody had come with bolt cutters trying to penetrate this fence here, and peacekeepers in the crowd escorted them away. They are trying to keep the peace tonight, and so far it has worked. Back to you.
All right, Babs, thank you. Well, let's go straight now out to our Mitty Hicks, who brings us a different angle of things out there.
Yeah, Mitty, can you tell us where you're at and how things are looking on your end?
Yeah, well, we're right here in front of the Brooklyn Center Police Department, Sarah, and what it looks like on my end is Babs just mentioned. It's a total different vibe here on day 7. It's much lighter from what we've seen in the past. I'm just going to step out of frame for a bit. At one point, as Babs mentioned, we saw people trying to break down parts of the fence, but the Minnesota freedom fighters stopped that. So we haven't seen much conflict other than that, but as you can see, there is a new sign that we see tonight that says Stop State Terror, and obviously that's referring to state troopers and the National Guard and the use of rubber bullets and those other eye irritants and things like that. Earlier today, doctors and medical experts from the University of Minnesota, they came down to protest the use of what they call non-lethal weapons. Again, they were really just talking about how, just because they are deemed as non-lethal, it doesn't make them not dangerous. But we haven't seen any of that tonight as of yet. What we are seeing is this sense of community. To the right of me, people are grilling hamburgers and people are giving out water. We have seen people riding their bikes, giving out snacks. A much lighter day than we've seen in the past few days. We also saw a guy riding his bike with snacks while he was out here, and he said it's because he figured people would be hungry. And as Babs just mentioned, we're hearing a lot of gospel music. A lot of spiritual leaders have come down. They're praying for Dante Wright's family, praying for Dante Wright, praying for these protesters. They are even praying for the law enforcement agencies that are here tonight. So again, not much conflict going on right now. But again, as this curfew sneaks up, it's at 11 o'clock, things could change in the next 45 minutes or so.
Hey, Mitty, Karen here. A quick question for you. Obviously, we're aware of what protesters are doing. Is law enforcement taking the same strategy that they have the last few nights, where they kind of stay back towards the building and they don't have that sort of police line up against the fence?
That's exactly right. We haven't seen that police line up against the fence. But again, we're still 45 minutes away from that curfew. And when we all got those alerts on our phone that the curfew would be coming up here at 11 o'clock, the protesters here are ignoring that or even chanting to ignore that curfew. So that doesn't mean we won't see that line just yet. But again, it's a total different vibe tonight. We have not seen agitators. We haven't seen people, throwing things at the police. So I would attribute, that fact, that we haven't seen that. And that's probably why we haven't seen that police lining up just yet, Karen.
All right, some good news. Things remaining peaceful right now. Mitty Hicks outside the Brooklyn